I know when the tunnel was done, before they built the lateral tunnels to fill with gunpowder, 511 feet under the ground, Colonel Pleasance and another officer would crawl in there every day and lay there at the end, right underneath the Confederates, 20 feet underneath, dirt above them, and listen to the Confederate cannons going off, and he could even hear them chatter at times up there. What he was doing was making sure that they are right under the Confederate guns, and that's where they want to build the lateral tunnels to eventually create the explosion. But I thought that was what a story that must be, you know, that crawl that far and just lay there for a while, listening and hearing the guns going off. What a bunch of fantastic bravery. Let me put some of my stuff here, I guess. Okay. No, that's good. Yeah, I'm good. You can sit on the steps too if anybody wants. I'm not going to use the steps, so that's fine once everyone's out. Okay, so the mine has been built. Now they need a plan of attack. They're working on this plan while the mine is being dug, with much of the Union Army staff almost think this is just busy work. It's not even going to work. They have no real confidence in it, but it will work, of course, as we just discussed in here. What's the plan? General Burnside, okay, this guy here, General Burnside, he's the Corps commander. He will pick the 4th Division under Edward Ferraro. He will ask them, they're going to be the ones to lead the attack. It is a division of United States colored troops. Siegfried from Pottsville is buried right over here. He's one of the brigade commanders there. So they're going to allow this United States colors troops to go in. However, after it gets up through the line, through the talk, through the politicians, whatever, it's July. In November is going to be the presidential election. Well, what do you know? The current administration is going to be worried about what's it going to look like if these black troops go in and get slaughtered. Not going to play well in the press. However, if they're victorious, we might just very well end the war with this attack. They debate it. Eventually, the call comes out. 11 p.m., the night before the attack. The attack's going to go in at dawn. The orders come in. He's out. Ferraro's out. We need a different division. So Burnside is going to have to discuss, you know, with his men, what's he going to do. He's got 3 other division commanders: Potter, Wilcox, and James Ledley. He has to pick one of them. He asks for a volunteer. Which division commander? Which one of your divisions wants to lead? None of them volunteer. So he has to go to the next option. Draw straws. Let me grab pictures here. They're right in order. You have the next one coming up. One of the men, division commander, is James Ledley. Okay, he more or less will be your last choice. And I know, you know, if I'm talking about my military buddies and military historians, you don't want to besmirch anyone who served in the military. But if there's a guy that's come close, it's this guy. He, among the many things, June 17th, during the attack, Grant would write that he is the worst division commander in the Civil War. He has been caught drunk, at least on that occasion, if not other ones. So James Ledley's a bad choice. But what are they going to do to pick which division is going to go? There's 3 choices. They draw straws, and of course, you know who's going to get the short straw. It's going to be Ledley. So of all people, the worst commander, according to Grant, even the worst commander to lead in an attack, he's going to go forward. So Ledley's going to lead the way. We're not even when Ferraro was picked with the United States colored troops to attack, he worked out a plan with his men. They actually talked about ladders, how they're going to get in there. This explosion is going to occur. We want to go around this crater and then up to the heights above Petersburg, and then that'll be the position for the attack into Petersburg itself, and hopefully victory, and the war might end. When Ledley gets his choice, they don't even think, there's no reports that he even discussed the plan with his men. So it's a really sad affair. And again, you don't have much time anyway. You saw the picture earlier, you know, of the explosion as the men stand in awe. The Union men, you can imagine, even as a Union soldier, and you know this is coming, you must be just awesome to see that. But now if you're a Confederate, you must be thinking quite the opposite. This massive explosion, it goes way high in the sky. The cannons go up in the air even, and body parts and dirt. And as it all comes filtering down, one of the thoughts the Confederates must have had is that the only one? You know, there are going to be more of these? So imagine the morale, what it's going to do to the rebel soldiers who now wait this attack. But it is the only one explosion, and it comes forward. So after the explosion of the mine, we talked about that. Dave already went over the details on that, so I'll move forward. 4:44 a.m. the explosion occurs. After the explosion itself, of 300 South Carolina troops manning the trenches directly above the mine gallery, and 30 gunners, 300 men and 30 gunners are there. 352 are reported killed or wounded in Captain Pegram's battery and in the infantry. So Ledley's attack goes forward. His men go forward, and what do you know? They pause at the crater, and many of the men go down into the crater. And what a sad tragedy that's going to be. So they're going to go down in this crater. They're faced with a climb up the other side of it. And as what happens with many humans, obviously, they begin to push people. You can't even get out. There's people behind you, more men coming in, and no one can get out. As this is going on, 100 Union cannon go off to begin to cannonade to help out with the attack. You saw the movie Cold Mountain is what it looked like. But now the Confederates are going to rally. They got enough time as this attack begins to falter. Enter the picture of the man known as the hero of the crater from the Southern perspective, General Mahone. Okay, he now enters the battle. He's a short and very frail man, very short and frail. Okay, at Second Manassas, when General Mahone was wounded in the chest, his wife was notified of his flesh wound. Just a flesh wound. They're trying to calm her down, right? But she comments, "It must be serious since little William has no flesh." So that's General Mahone. He goes on to fight he fought at Gettysburg and other places. Rather energetic, man of small stature. As the account goes, taking charge of the desperate situation, Mahone directs a stout defense that ensured the Federals would never get beyond the crater. Charles Venable, an aide to General Lee, recalled that after the war, every message sent that day to General Lee was sent to General Mahone as commander of the efforts, and he was rewarded with the rank of Major General and a well-earned sobriquet, Hero of the Crater. As these troops go forward now and they're battling into the crater, the next division that's in reserve is Ferrero's, United States Colored Troops. They're getting sent in now too. Well, as they get sent in, as they begin to enter the battle, the Confederates see them. And then for many of them, this is either the first time or one of the rare times they've seen black soldiers coming to attack them. And the accounts are just, rather pitiful as far as they took very little prisoners of the black soldiers, certainly bayoneting them as they tried to surrender, things of that sort. Even after they were taken prisoner, taken behind the lines, there's reports of them being executed, I guess you'd call it. So Billy Mahone leads the counterattack. They do push him back, and the counterattack works. The battle is a success for the Confederates. They've stopped them. This is July 30th, 1864. The war doesn't end until April of the following year. And here was a close call, though. Okay, so after the battle, court of inquiry was brought forward, but it became recognized as a farce on a lot of political talk and things of that sort, not getting to the facts. Grant told Burnside to take leave, General Burnside, the corps commander, and he did. Pleasants testified at the court hearings. Meade failed and let him down, he'd said. Pleasants did not return to service. During the Battle of the Crater, as I noted, during the Battle of the Crater, none of those three division commanders who were drawing straws. All went into the attack. None of them went forward with their division, which is rather sad again. Ledley, one of the brigade commanders, and Ferrero were observed behind the lines in a bunker drinking liquor. Ledley was criticized by the court of inquiry in his conduct. On the orders of General Grant, General Meade effectively dismissed Ledley from the service in December, and he resigned his commission in January. The 48th, they spent another month. They had spent a whole month working underground, and you got to wonder what their thoughts were in the days and weeks after that, as far as what that must have been like, thinking all that effort they did, and it came to naught. Snapper Reese wrote, had he known what a disaster it would be, he would not have relit that fuse. That's kind of a profound statement in itself. The 48th remains in the lines in front of Petersburg, Virginia. George Gowan takes command of the 48th. There, by the way, there's a painting, nice painting of the attack, okay? Confederate counterattack going forward. That's probably the most popular one. And you can see just the carnage and the violence going on there. That's the last one, okay. George Gowan takes command of the 48th Pennsylvania. After he takes command in April 2nd, 1865, it's not only 2 weeks before the end of the war, struck squarely in the head by a cannonball. Blood goes all over the 48th's flag, and of course, George Gowan is dead. There's a monument to the 48th at Petersburg, and there it is there. Okay, I'm not be able to see it too well, but it sits right in a square in the middle of a whole bunch of traffic. Terrible place for a monument. But on top of that monument to the 48th is George Gowan. Okay, well, it's kind of sad that it's where it is. George Gowan's brother is the one who prosecuted the Molly Maguires. I don't think much of him at all. The way he conducted himself, quite a sad way he pursued the Irish the way he did. Henry Pleasant, he became the head of the Coal and Iron Police, again during the Molly Maguires era. After mustering out of the Army, Pleasant returned to Pottsville, resumed his role as a mining engineer. He eventually developed a brain tumor, traveled to Europe, and died at age 47 in Pottsville in 1880. The 48th Pennsylvania mustered out July 17th, 1865, so 2 months after the end of the war. The last survivor of the 48th Pennsylvania, so all those soldiers, the last one, it's amazing, the last survivor passed away in August 1941. It's only a few months before Pearl Harbor. I mean, the guy saw World War II begin in Europe, and he was alive till then. So that's a fascinating story of itself. Does anybody else have any questions or anything? That pretty much concludes us. Go ahead, sure.